Jason Endicott with you till 7 o'clock here on AM 1220 KHTS. It is 3:40. And time for us once again to have another segment, our feature that we do. It's called Unsung Heroes in Santa Clarita. It's sponsored by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. It is our weekly... actually, we don't really do this every week. It's only, as people get... brought to our attention, or as we start to think, we haven't really recognized these people in the proper way. So we're doing that today with one of our own, which is kind of nice to do that. It's not something we get to do very often, and it's with Janice Murray. She is the host of AM 1220 KHTS's weekly nonprofit spotlight show. She's been doing that since, I believe, 2005, Janice, yeah?
Yes.
And she's keeping our community posted on local nonprofit organization activities and fundraisers. Her show originates at our kiosk over at the Westfield Valencia Town Center Mall, and she gives Santa Clarita Valley nonprofits a voice, and she helps keep us posted on how we can all get involved and volunteer and donate and help make things better here in the SCV. She's also on the foundation board for the Boys and Girls Club of the SCV. She was a founding member of the SCV Disaster Coalition in 2005 and was a key mover in getting the 138-bed South Wing expansion built over at Providence Holy Cross Medical Center in 2011. She does all of this and more on a volunteer basis, which is why Janice Murray is AM 1220 KHTS's latest Santa Clarita Unsung Hero. And we thank you, Janice, for coming in. Thanks for being here. It's different to have you here.
You make me sound really good. Yeah. I'm thinking, who's he talking about?
Well, and we also give credit to Stephen K. Peoples, who is going to write this great story about you, and is going to take this interview, and he's going to get all your quotes and pull them out, and he'll even embellish it even more. So
wonderful.
We look forward to reading that.
Absolutely.
Janice, you've been covering nonprofits for so long here, since 2005, at least on the radio here. So that's 8 years now.
Yes.
And you've been it's just so instrumental in getting so many of them more attention that they deserve. So you're probably, I guess, a walking encyclopedia on our local nonprofits. You probably know them all, right?
I know a ton of them. Trust me. Unfortunately, there's only 52 weeks, 52 Mondays.
Yeah.
And darn it if we don't have Monday holidays. So I can probably only touch about 48 of them or 47 in an annual calendar. But this year we've got about 5 new ones coming on, which excites me. I'm nosy. So I want to know who's out there and what they're doing, and I want to share that with everybody.
And just to give people a kind of a behind-the-scenes look, you guys, you are really fair and judicious with the way you schedule your nonprofits on the show. You do this often a year in advance. You'll
Absolutely
go through the whole calendar, find out which nonprofits can go on which days, and you guys are booked for weeks and months and years in advance. So
absolutely, it gets crazy, but I love it.
But it's worth it.
It is worth it.
Before we get back to the good things you do as an unsung hero, let's find a little bit more about you. Where are you from originally? How did you get into the Santa Clarita Valley?
Born and raised in Los Angeles. I guess I'll say I married into Santa Clarita because when I got married, my husband at the time bought a house here in Sand Canyon, and I came off the 405 freeway at Placerita and thought, oh my gosh, where am I? Came up Sand Canyon and saw cows and horses, and I thought, oh my goodness!
Right.
I had coming from LA, I had
Much
no
different
idea.
Environment.
Much different environment, and as the years have grown and my kids have grown up here, I absolutely love it. Would not go anywhere else. Wouldn't go anywhere else. And I've traveled a lot, lived other states and other places. I've probably lived in about 8 other states, but this is home.
This is where you want to be.
Absolutely.
And how did you connect with KHTS and you became the station's community relations director in 2005? How did that relationship happen?
That is the funniest story to me, and I hope no disrespect to Carl, but my daughters both were going to Pinecrest in Canyon Country, and Carl and Jerry's son was there at the same time. He's a little bit older. And I have to say this, Carl was that mom that stood on the front porch after dropping the kids off and chatted everybody up.
Yep.
Every day I'd see this man on the porch and I'd think, he's so friendly. Who is he? And I asked one of my girlfriends and she introduced me. And then I started seeing him around town. Now, I was not very acclimated to, the community yet. I was pretty new here and hadn't been involved in a lot of things yet. So I didn't know who he was. I didn't know about the radio station. But once she told me, I started listening. And then I guess fast forward to a year or two later, my ex opened the Mercedes dealership,
right.
And we were at a grand opening event for that. And Carl came up and, hey, Janice, how you doing? What's going on? And I said, the kids are getting older. They're in after-school activities till 4 and 5. They don't need me as much anymore. And I've got a college degree. I felt like I needed to get involved. I wanted to do something I could be passionate about. but I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what that meant. And Carl said, you know what? Let me get back to you. And darn it, it was probably 2 months later.
Yeah.
And he calls me up and he says, Jerry and I want to talk to you. We're going to build this brand new station at the mall and all new technology. And I thought, and what does that have to do with me? Literally. Now, I was in sales. I sold for Xerox and Bank of America for years, and I was paid to talk. And they presented this opportunity and said, hey, you could pick your days, you could pick your hours, and you get to talk to all these nonprofits. And I went, okay.
Why not?
Why not? And literally, and sometimes I tell my guests when they come on and they're acting, kind of nervous about it, I tell them this story to calm them down. When I first started the show, I'd say for about the first 4 months, I would come to the mall early. I had cue cards with every question written down, and I'd be in the bathroom with my stomach in knots.
Right.
And some lady came on my show. I forget what nonprofit she was with, but she comes on the show one day, and she was all weird and nervous, and I said, here, take the headphones away, take the mic away. It's just girlfriends talking. You know what you came here to talk about. You're the expert. You're the one that's passionate about what you do. And she said when we were done, God, that was so much easier than I thought. But when you say it's a 2-hour show, I think people think I have to talk for 2 hours.
Right.
And you and I both know I could personally. But
Yes, you could.
I could.
And the longer you've done it for 8 years now. You don't need all those crutches anymore. You could just come.
I could phone it
somebody
in,
come
but
in and
I
no.
love meeting people. I love being, I hate to say this because we are in studio today.
Yeah.
I love being at the mall.
Right.
I love seeing the sights and watching the people, and I have friends that'll come up and say hello to me. I've got some of my friends from Lark, some of the clients from Lark come up and give me a big hug,
Yeah.
tell me, how their day's going. I love that.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
We're in studio right now with Janice Murray. She is the Santa Clarita Unsung Hero this time around, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. You've been doing the nonprofit, as I mentioned, for 8 years. This has been, the past several years have been kind of a really interesting time for nonprofits.
Yes,
They're
it has.
trying to go through this recession. A lot of them having to adjust to, a new reality, less government funding, fewer people being able to donate money. How are our nonprofits locally weathering the storm as far as what you've seen?
That's funny you would ask that. One of the main ones, one of the big ones, long-standing ones, Child and Family Center, has just had to cut some numbers in their staff, which kind of, it's sad that it's gotten to that, but the economy is affecting everybody. What I see on the other hand is that some of the nonprofits are eliminating some of the events that they do. But what surprises me is that some of them are being creative, thinking outside the box. And, we've all got the golf tournaments and the rubber chicken dinners, the silent auctions.
Right.
But some are coming up with some really cute and creative ideas. And I think that's how you get people interested, because obviously in any community you've got that handful that are the people that are philanthropic, and they always show up and they always donate. But you got to do something that the average man can be involved in. When you go to an event and they start the donations at $5, $10, everybody at the table can donate $5 or $10 or $50 versus the $10,000. So it makes those events more accessible, and I think that's a good way to make everybody feel like they can take ownership and take part in supporting those nonprofits.
Are there any nonprofits you think that are local that don't get enough attention or don't get enough mention as compared to some of the other ones?
There are a few, and I hate to say this one because I'm kind of at fault for not giving their due this month. Monday, I have to go to jury duty, and I was going to have Help the Children on.
Right.
And I had spoken with Michael Santamaro off air a couple months ago, and he's got some crazy great ideas about some stuff with some big name performers that he's thinking about doing some things with here, and I feel bad they don't get a lot of attention specifically because they don't have a big fundraiser.
Right.
The ones there's another one I was thinking of, and I had them on last Monday. Bridges to Ability. It's a unique market. They work with the developmentally disabled and enriching their lives, and they don't have a big fundraiser either. And they've gone through some changes with their staff, with their board, but I think they're coming back strong. So
Good.
We'll see some more from them. Kindle Ranch.
No.
They are looking for property to build a camp here for the children that have the medical issues that their clients that they serve.
Wow.
So keep an ear and an eye out. I will have them on pretty soon, I think within the next month.
Great.
And of course, our new favorite, Habitat for Heroes, Habitat for Humanity. We know Carl and Jerry are very, very big and behind that organization. And I just want to say this. I've done a habitat build where we actually busted down house back in Baltimore when I was living there. It is one of those things when you get your hands dirty and you do it, you see the family that house is going to go to, you reap the rewards. You feel how important that is to a family that normally would not be able to afford a house. It's so special, and I would ask that everybody, when we start doing these builds here in Santa Clarita, get involved. That you don't have to have, I always say on my show, you don't have to have any special talent to get involved with any of these nonprofits. You don't have to be Martha Stewart. You don't have to be overly creative. God knows I'm not. But your time is your talent. And that's all they ask, is that you can help donate, when you can, donate your time. That's important.
It is important. Can you hang out a bit? I want to do a traffic update. We'll come back and talk some more.
Tell me what's going on in traffic.
Absolutely. In studio with the Santa Clarita Unsung Hero, Janice Murray, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. Janice has been so active with our nonprofit groups here in Santa Clarita. And we have this feature. You can check out the other stories that we've written. Stephen K. Peoples does a great job with them. They're all at hometownstation.com. And you can check out all the people that have been so honored by Mercedes-Benz Valencia and the Santa Clarita Unsung Hero. And Janice Murray, she's one of our own. We're happy to see her get this recognition. Thanks for hanging out, Janice. We do
fun stuff. I love coming in here. I don't get to come in studio
right.
often.
You're often at the kiosk at the mall.
I am. I'm the queen of the kiosk.
The queen of the
because
kiosk.
As I hear it, that's my self-proclaimed title.
Right.
I'm the only one that does a regular show there anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's my home.
And
I invite everybody on Mondays from 10 to noon to come stop by and say hello. I love that.
We love it too. I want to talk about some of the other stuff that you've done here in town. You were on the board of Providence for about 5 years, and just talk to me about how that happened and kind of what your experience was with that.
Well, I have learned in the years that I've known Carl and Jerry. Jerry, I love her to death, but she's like a little whirly dervish. She gets excited about things, and then everybody in her sphere comes along with her.
Yeah.
And I think she was relatively new on the board and very excited about it. And she talked to me about it one day, and I said, you know what, I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic. And that's a part of, my whole thing, the philanthropic thing, giving back. And I thought, wow, I'd had my experiences with the other hospital, and I thought, here, let me go check them out and see what they're about. And it was a good fit for me. I really enjoyed. We had a mission to help build that tower. So for me, I like seeing the end result. I like having something to work towards. And it was a ton of fun. Met a lot of wonderful people. I was just there this morning.
Yeah.
Unrelated, but
right.
It's nice to get your hands dirty, to go out. We hit the ground running. We raised a ton of money to get that built, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it serves the community there in Mission Hill, San Fernando. We've got people that come from Santa Clarita that utilize that facility, and is wonderful. Magnet Hospital, the nursing staff, everyone there is wonderful.
Yeah.
So for me, when she talked to me about it and I did my homework and checked them out, I thought, this is a good thing for me.
Had some very good experiences there myself as well. So it's nice to see them doing very well.
Yes.
You're also on the COC advisory committee for the Canyon Country campus. What's going on out there? What's up with that?
You know what? I say it all the time. I get involved with all these things because I'm nosy, because I want to be on the forefront. I want to know what's going on. And that advisory committee got on the ground running when that place was dirt. I mean, literally, we'd go for meetings and we'd drive around in little carts on all of that 70 acres or something of dirt. We got to help decide how we wanted that campus to look. What was the feel going to look like? What programs we wanted to start opening there at that campus. I figure, my kids they're being raised here. Eventually, they might have to go there. Mm-hmm. So I was very, very invested. I used to say that I'd heard that during the summer, they had a wine and cheese or wine and cooking class. And I thought, I would like to go. I have a degree, but I'd like to go back and take fun classes. Yeah. And that's down the street, 10 minutes away.
Right.
So I wanted to be invested in that, and they are. The people on the committee are an amazing group, but I have to take my hat off to Diane Van Hook. Dr. Van Hook puts her mind to something. She finds a way to get things for this community that other people would probably say no to her about. We are at the Canyon Country campus in the plans to build a planetarium.
Awesome.
And that will be a great meeting space. Obviously, we've got the most beautiful night sky here, the clearest. I mean,
and especially where that's located. It's nice and dark at night.
Forever. So they do little things there in the Carl Rasmussen Amphitheater. But this will be a real planetarium where they'll have shows, where they'll teach classes, but there will be meeting space on the bottom for people, organizations, nonprofits who don't have their own facilities, who want to get together in some place, to have little cocktail parties, meetings, whatever.
That's awesome.
Wonderful idea.
I also want to ask you about your time on the Boys and Girls Club Foundation and what you've done with them.
Boys and Girls Club, I don't know. I think Bob Keller, who I absolutely love and adore. Bob, years ago, was my realtor and coming out here in Santa Clarita. And Bob talked to me about Boys and Girls Club and got involved. And one year, I don't know how this happened, but they decided to ask me to co-chair 2007 the Festival of Trees event, which was and still is one of my absolute favorite events. And that year was unfortunately the year that Randy Rage, something else was going on in the warehouse facility that he owned. He used to donate to us, and we had to move it to the Hyatt. And they unfortunately had something going on the Friday and the Sunday, so we could only have it as a one-day event. We raised over $100,000 in a one-day event, but you know what? The community spoke loudly. We got phone calls at the radio station. You'd have thought I had decided that on my own to do that to us.
I guess people needed more time to check out the trees.
People wanted more time. They wanted the boutique and the Santa and the, all those things that make that event what it is. It is an amazing event, and we really want to thank Westfield for stepping up and allowing us to use the facilities. The last couple of years they've had it there, and it's been like 13, 14 days.
Yeah.
And it is a win-win for the community, for the stores in the mall, bringing more people together to come out. And I absolutely hope that continues there. It's a great venue for it.
What's coming up next for you? What are you working on in the next few months?
Well, like I said, I've got a couple new nonprofits coming on, and I absolutely am excited because Art Tree, I pass them going to Pilates Tech all the time.
Yeah.
And I saw this building. It's painted on the outside. It looks like an old tin building or something. And I'm thinking, what the heck is that? Jerry has me bringing them on. I've been to the Canyon Theater Guild, but don't know a whole lot about them.
Yep.
They're going to be a new nonprofit that we represent, and the Rep.
Oh, yeah.
Will also.
Rep East Playhouse.
Yeah,
Very
the
good.
Rep East Playhouse.
We've got 60 seconds, Janice. Just want to ask you quickly, what motivates you to do these things? We worked so tirelessly. What is it that makes you want to do this?
I grew up in Watts in a family of 5 kids with mom and dad who did everything they could to not let us feel like we were poor or disadvantaged.
Yeah.
They were always behind the scenes at the Catholic church that we went to, at the Catholic school, always donating their time. And now as a grown-up, I found out that they were always getting a little assistance, and that's how they got it done. My mom and my sister are both breast cancer survivors, and I think going through that with them made me realize life is precious. We only have so many breaths. And if I can give back and donate my time, because I realize my time is my talent.
Sure.
You don't always have to give in terms of financial aid, but whatever I can do, I feel as a Catholic growing up, that's how we got ahead, and that's how we should pass it forward to the other people who aren't as blessed as us.
Janice Murray, she is the Unsung Hero, Santa Clarita's Unsung Hero, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you,
and thank
Jason.
you for your continued work in the community. Great job.
This has been fun. I look forward to more years here.
And we'll talk to you, I guess not Monday for jury duty, but the Monday after, right?
Monday after.
Tune in Monday at 10 a.m. for
Absolutely.
the Santa Clarita Nonprofit Spotlight Show. Thank you,
Thank
Janice.
you.
We'll talk to you again very soon.